Jeff Hoffman is the creator of Booking.com. Booking.com today is a $160 billion company. Booking.com is a marketplace, somewhat like Amazon and Flipkart, Uber and Ola, Zomato and Swiggy. Marketplaces are really hard to build. They're very capital intensive and the risk is really high. But marketplaces are the most valuable businesses to have been born out of internet over the last 2 decades. I asked him, are marketplaces still ripe as opportunity today? What will in fact be the most valuable businesses for the future? It was actually a fun discussion about all these things with him. Check this out. Jeff, internet first businesses. I think you've been one of the pioneers of building internet first businesses. Marketplaces. Is there still scope for marketplaces in the world?
Absolutely, but marketplaces are hard because the problem with the marketplace, when you have a two-sided marketplace, which was our struggle at the beginning, is the chicken and the egg, right? Which comes first? So let's take the travel example. You call a hotel and you say, you should sign up for our online travel site. And they say, so that we can have access to your 0 customers. Then you call customers and say, you should come on our travel site. And they say, so we can have access to your 0 hotels. So there's the hard part of a double-sided market. However, there are so many markets in so many industries that the technology makes a marketplace more efficiency. It gives more exposure to a lot of the sellers, the people that have products to sell, and it gives more access in a lower cost and faster method to the buyers. So yes, double-sided marketplaces are going to continue to be there.
But they're going to be insanely hard.
They're still hard. They're never not going to be hard. So the people that are willing to fight through the hard and figure that out are going to continue to win. There'll be more successes.
Got it. Now, the entire, they call it the platform revolution or the marketplace revolution came about 2 decades ago because the internet was there. And it happened to capture the most internet-generated wealth in terms of startups.
Right.
What other business models can get to that level, or do you think marketplaces beat everyone?
There's always something we didn't see coming, right? So I think there'll be more waves, and maybe you and I can't even think of them yet. An example.
Present.
No one thought, present's going to be AI, right? Well, who's going to win in the AI business and who's going to make the most money?
In terms of what?
We don't even know yet. That's what I'm saying. What are the best, most valuable uses of AI? We don't know yet. Everybody's trying it out for everything, but there's gold there, and somebody's going to mine it in the same way that the people that, the long-term future of crypto, we still don't know, but right now it's on a roll. And the people that got in, that believed in crypto early, did really, really well in it.
In terms of investment, more than utility. No. That's not true.
No, I said
in more crypto, less blockchains. That's what.
For the right now investment, yes. For the long term, I don't know yet, right? Because we don't know the future of crypto. We don't know the governments, the regulations. Right now, it's looking good for crypto. Blockchain's pretty obvious. It's not focused. It's not political like crypto is. It's going to make a lot more industries more efficient and help people save money and improve supply lines. So that's a good longer term investment for sure.
They say decentralization looks good only in theory. In practicality, it's mob rule. Do you agree with that?
Well, it's interesting because if you look back through history, there's kind of a swing. Okay. We decentralize and we get decentralized too far. And it causes problems. Then they kind of swing back around. We want Yeah. So that cycle continues, and I don't see why it wouldn't continue.
Okay.
So when you get to the point where people feel like it's mob rule, then they want some regulation again and some centralization.
But net, this decentralization is sustainable and positive.
It is. Yes, it is positive. It benefits a lot of people. And so in the end, that's what matters the most.
Got it. How many times have you been in India?
Been in India, this is 4. This is my 4th visit.
So from whatever you know of India, and I'm sure you also have business data on India, this is being watched by a 20-year-old who's in college and he wants to start up. What are some of the sectors that they should get their hands dirty in? Of course, in order to build for the future, but in order to also be successful themselves.
But the good news is every sector, right? Agriculture is still a big sector that's open for innovation.
And actually in India.
Yes. Healthcare needs to be improved everywhere, but innovating the intersection between healthcare and at-home care, right? Providing people the ability to get healthcare at home through technology is a huge market that's still untapped. The online education is still not done, right? Education, especially in India, where the value of education is a lot higher than in my country. Indian families value the education of their children. The next wave of technology and online education, we're still not there. We have a long way to go. Some of the people speaking at this event are Encore that we were just talking about. I was sitting with him for a while backstage, and his biggest focus of his life is he's designing a brand new school that's a next generation school that doesn't drag along the old paradigm of sit in a classroom and get lectured. The only thing you're learning is whatever that teacher knows, not what you need to learn. So education is huge. The future of work is huge. Right now that COVID made us all remote workers and made people more online, what I get from business owners all the time is, I don't know how to build a culture anymore or how to motivate people when they're not in the office. Somebody has to solve the future of work in a remote world. So all those industries are open for innovation.
Got it. What do you think about financing for businesses? In the recent times, there's been a lot of, after the zero interest rate policy era, there's been a lot of anti-narrative against what kind of financing businesses need and, the repercussions of raising from VC. What's been your experience with financing, fundraising, and what do you recommend a newbie founder who's 20 years old starting up for the first time?
The venture capitalists,
I think they behave differently
in the US, yeah. But generally, for me, over the years, I generally tried to avoid venture money because
Booking.com did raise?
We did do raises, but we started with private money with our companies, not with in the early Priceline days where we started.
Right.
We started more with private money before we did venture money. Anyway, let me answer the broader question. Because you said for the startups.
Yeah.
The one thing that bothers me a lot personally as I travel around the world and work with startups is they use funding as a crutch. We can't do this till we get money. We can't do that till we get money. I actually posted something on my LinkedIn recently where I said startups frequently say that the reason they failed is they ran out of money. That's not why. What they ran out of was ideas. They ran out of innovation. They ran out of solutions. They ran out of smart people that figured it out anyway. They used money as an excuse. The reason you ran out of money is because you weren't innovative enough to solve your problems. Otherwise, you'd be selling your product and you wouldn't need money. So funding is important, but don't use it as a crutch. Don't raise money until you've innovated everything you can think of to make your business work before you say, okay, now I need some more money to do that. People go to the funding well too early, and that's in every country. I've been talking to a lot of Indian startups this week here, and it's no different here. A lot of them are saying, I need funding, and I said, no, you need some better ideas first.
How to raise VC happens to be the most prominent question in any of the startup oriented.
Yes, exactly.
So my next question to you is, let's say hypothetically, you went down to zero tomorrow. What will you build?
What would I build?
Yeah.
I would probably...
Zero, like literally.
Yeah, well, sure.
So focus is money.
Yeah, I would probably jump into one of the things I just mentioned to you. Healthcare, I don't know, not my specialty. Either technology for the future of work, right? How to optimize, maximize, and increase profits on remote workforces. So build tools to help companies actually get better at using global talent virtually. Or I would focus on the education market, right? Today, your generation, you learn differently than I learned. We learned the way we learned because we were forced to in school. The whole educational model needs to be rebooted. And that's an area that I really care about. So I might start to develop the intellectual property, right? Because that's not about money. That's about literally the ideas, coming up with the ideas first. You don't need money to come up with great ideas and to outline them and start to design them. And if you can convince people this idea is going to work, that's when you start to get funding. So if somebody listening doesn't have any money at all today, don't worry about the money, worry about the quality of an idea to make significant impact on an industry. If you've created something that creates value, you'll be able to find the money later. Those are the things I'd probably focus on.
So IP, monetizing IP is a great opportunity. But there are a lot of ifs and buts that people face around it. That hey, is my IP worth it? How do I make my IP valuable so that somebody pays? What are some lessons that you've learned around IP, intellectual property?
Well, one of the biggest things to do is to go study the success models, right? There are people that have solved that problem and have done really well with it. So instead of guessing, like you said, there's a lot of guesswork, go look at the models of the organizations that have successfully monetized IP. Try to figure out how they did it. Get mentors that have been there and done that. I think that's most important. People have solved that puzzle. Go ask them how they solved it.
Awesome. This was good. Thank you so much, Jeff.